Hello everyone, welcome back to Glitz and Glitter. So today is XTool day. I have picked another project. I'm getting more familiar with the machine. I'm loving it more and more every day. There's 1,000 million things you could do with this thing, but on the last video that I did, a lot of comments wanted me to go into more of the process of the machine, of using the machine, and it is so easy. So I'm going to take a few screens right now, and I'm going to show you the process on how I came to get what I'm going to be making today. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get onto a site where you can get an SVG file. I use Creative Fabrica because I have a subscription with them. There are multiple sources of SVG files. You don't have to have a subscription with anybody. If you don't want one, you can just pay for the file. Usually they're just a couple dollars each, especially if you're going to be selling these products. You just download it once and you have it. So like a $2 investment and you can make as many as you want. Just be careful of the licensing. A lot of times, just read the licensing on your subscription or non-subscription if you can resell it or if you can only make it for personal use. So do be careful about licensing. So this is Creative Fabrica. This is the pattern I chose. It is going to be a lantern. I've never made a lantern, obviously, because I've never had a cutter before. So now that I've picked my pattern on Creative Fabrica, I just click on the download button and it downloads it into all of your downloads. You go into your downloads and you click download. And then when it's on your computer, you just click this little button under your downloads in your computer and it will open up what you just asked for. And in this case, it's the file to the little lantern. So now that I have the file to the lantern on my computer, I'm going to save it to my documents. So I'm just going to click and save it. That's what, don't forget that step, or you may lose it and then you'll have to do it over again or go back into Creative Fabrica and grab it again. It's not a big deal, but it's just a step to save you some time. So you're just going to, once you have it in your computer, you're going to open up Creative Space, and that's the free software that comes with the XTool, and it works pretty similar to a Cricut. So all of you that have a Cricut, you can do this. It is so easy. Every day it gets easier. And you're going to just import that file that you just had, or another file that you may already have. Just import it into Creative Space, and it's really simple with a click of a button. So once you have it in there, you're going to size it to however size you want it. I made this one bigger because it came much smaller, and I don't know how they would have made must have been a teeny tiny little lantern because it's not even big the way I'm making it. So I just sizing it the way I want it here. And then once we have it exactly how we want it, and you know which pieces are going to be cut, which pieces will be engraved. Now this particular one, I'm not engraving anything. It's just all going to be cut. So you just click on the material you are using. They have all predetermined materials in the XTool. So I'm just clicking on the 3mm basswood because that's what I'm going to be cutting it out on. So now that I picked the material, I'm going to click on the little camera button at the top of the screen. And what that does is it shows an image of the inside of the XTool, the image where you put your wood, your acrylic, your leather, your stainless steel, whatever you're cutting or engraving, that's where you're putting that. So I put the wood in there, I'm clicking the camera button to show the position, and then it gives you the actual view of what you're looking at, what's in the tool. And then I'm just going to move my image around and I'm going to make it fit, because if I see this piece of wood I have not cut yet, but if it's just like a tiny little maybe a keychain and you've already cut a huge project out of a piece of wood, this camera imaging, you can move whatever you downloaded into the spot of the material that hasn't been cut yet, obviously. So you just move it around and make it fit. And then double check your settings. Make sure that you're on cut. Make sure the output is on if you're cutting. If you need to hold some for later, you just turn the output off and it can stay on your screen and it won't cut or engrave that thing. And then as easy as that, that's it. You just click on go to process. And then once you click on that, it's going to show the layout on where it's sitting and where the machine has to go in order to get to where you're making. So that's just the layout. You just hit OK, and then you're going to hit the start button on your computer. Now, once you hit the start button, that does not mean the machine is going to go. That just means you're ready to start. And then it's going to turn on, it's going to do a little movement, and there's a button on the XTool itself that you must hit in order to start the machine. So you're just going to press that on button, and then the process begins. And you don't forget to turn on your smoke thing. I don't remember the name of it. So there's a smoke box, and it takes all the smoke out, and it like takes it out of your home. You don't smell it. If you don't have this smoke box, then you need to do this where there's outside maybe, or vent it to an outside window, because there was a lot of smoke inside that machine. And they did send me this box that you turn on and it sucks all that smoke out. A smoke purifier, I think is the name of it. Yes, smoke purifier. So if you don't have a smoke purifier, you're not going to want to do this inside your house. So make sure you vent the tubing outside, out a window, or however you're going to do it. So I just turned on my smoke purifier, and let's go ahead and watch the process. Was that cool or what? That literally took 13 minutes to cut out all these pieces. It was like going through butter, and look at how intricate these details are. Look at how close some of these are. It's like paper thin wood, but there is wood between some of these petals for all these flowers. So I have all my pieces here that we are going to be using. I've never done this before. Me and Don are trying to figure out how to put it together, and I'm thinking we have to glue it, but in my case I'm going to UV resin it. But these fit perfectly here. This would be the top of the lantern, and these are the sides. So I am going to have to glue these somehow, some way when we are finished. And then this is going to be the inside where it holds a little tea light. I wouldn't use real flame if I was you, but that's how that works. So because I'm a resin channel and I want to incorporate resin with this XTool, we are going to fill all of these flowers in with resin. Are you ready to get started? Let me go pick some colors. It's the next day. I've got everything stained. I stained them late last night so they could be completely dry today. It's now like 24 hours later after I stained them, and I got this tape out. Since it worked last time, I'm going to use it again, but this is wide enough where it needs 2 pieces. So I just am going to make it easier on yourself so you can move them around. Oh, let me find the end. I do turn the edge over and fold it over, so when I'm have gloves on and you have to move it around, make sure they all get flipped over and do the back side. So when you have gloves on and you have to flip it around, you can move it without getting stuck to the tape. So I just fold over both ends like this, lay it over the piece, and it doesn't have to be wood. It could be whatever you're doing in resin too, for pendants or whatever, and press it down really good. So I'm just going to do that to all of these in a sped up version because this is pretty boring. I picked purple, pink, and yellow. Crushed crystal, of course, to put in them all. I think I'm not going to do fall colors today. I'm just going to do some lighter colors. I want to be able to see through it when it's all put together. Now, we were looking at these pieces, and I'm thinking you only need 2, one for the top and one for the bottom. So I'm thinking the options for these, because I've never done this before, so if you put together lanterns with your XTool or whatever laser you have, I think, well, this is the bottom that holds your tea light. I think you can choose either one of these as the top, but you can't use both. So if you want the top completely filled in, you would use this one. If you want your top open, then you would use this one. That's my guess. Let me know if I'm wrong. I am wrong a lot. All right, I'm just gonna speed this up for you. So I've mixed up 1 ounce of the casting resin because it gives me the longest working time and it's the most watery that I have other than deep pour, which I don't want to use. And I grabbed 3 little needle tip bottles. So I'm going to add my crushed crystal to the whole batch. And I want a good amount. I don't mind the extra sparkle in this. So I'm going to put more than I would normally put in 6 ounces. Just so it'll be really extra sparkly in those little tiny pieces of flour. And then I'm gonna split it up, color it, and get it into all these little bottles. These little bottles I have came with a little funnel. And the thinner the resin, the easier it'll get through the funnel. And I definitely didn't want my 4-hour fast cure because this is going to take a while. And your fingers definitely need some strength when you're pushing resin through a needle tip bottle. It is not simple. You can take the little needle off if you wanted to, but I'm going to leave it on just because some of these are really, really small areas. And yeah, that's why. All right, we're just going to use alcohol inks because being a lantern, you want to be able to see through it. But I also want a decent amount of color in them. So hopefully you'll see this color pretty good after it's unmolded. And hopefully we'll see the sparkle too. Let me check it on a paper towel. Yeah, it's pretty yellow, but I think I'm going to put more drops in. That'll be good. I'm not counting, I'm just squirting. And then I'm going to throw it, oh, see that tape sticks to everything. Gonna pour it in here. Let me move some of this stuff. Hopefully without spilling. And I'm just going to, like, every other flower, every third flower I'll do the color. I don't really have a plan. I never have a plan, you guys know that. All right, there's the yellow. I'm just gonna put my needle tip on. Like I said, you could pull that needle off and you'll have a slightly bigger opening if you have a hard time with your hands. Let's do the pink. And I'm just gonna use the same bottle. You won't see that yellow going through the pink. That's pretty good. Let's get it in here. So if you go lightest to darkest, then you won't notice the color from the last one. Come on, go down. Just don't overfill your bottles or you're going to have a bigger problem, which I may be doing on this one. Let it catch up before I put more in. So maybe I'll add that to the purple since I had more pink. It should be 3 ways. So I think I'll add my pink into here. And then add my purple color. Hopefully I don't totally ruin what I had in mind for purple. It's still purple. Good enough. Looks like purple to me. All right. And I will pause you so I can clean this little funnel. It only came with a couple of them in a 30 bottle box. So I don't want all of them to go in the trash because there's resin cured in it. So I definitely want to try to save this one if I can. So I'm just going to quick clean it out with some alcohol and a spray bottle. before I start. And pretty close. Yep, that one's full, so I have a tiny bit left I might need. It might fit in there. I still have a little bit of room left. I better not push it. That's it for that one. All right, I'm gonna save that because I might need it. Let me go clean this. So my plan is to just one at a time squeeze the resin in, and hopefully it doesn't leak. And of course this is the largest flower, but let's see what happens when we get to the smallest flower. And the resin will sink, so we may have to top coat each of these petals, or depending on how it looks, if we need to top coat anything, we could always top coat the entire thing, but that might jeopardize the parts that have to go together. So I don't know that I'm going to do that. I got a lot of bubbles in that first petal, so I'm going to spray it with alcohol because I don't want to use a fire on wood. There we go, that's better. So I don't know that I'm going to top coat anything. Even UV resin, I would probably have to stick in a bottle like this. I'm not going to do the centers the same color as the flower. Let's try a small one. So needle tip bottles work pretty good, and it's coming out really nicely. So make sure if you do this with resin, use a thin viscosity resin. So hopefully I can get all 5 of these panels finished prior to this getting thick. And I will, of course, put you on another fast forward. They are cured. I did use the heat mat to speed it up a little bit. It took 2 ounces total. What I realize now, there's a lot of bubbles. If you look at it closely, you could see a lot of bubbles which came from the wood. So yeah, I completely forgot that the wood is porous and the bubbles create it. But being that it's a flower, it's okay. But if it was something else, it might not be okay. You might want to, if it was something else that was larger, you could seal it probably with UV resin before you poured your color. The other thing I noticed is all the glitter is on the back. So you can't see the glitter from the front because it all dropped to the back. So this was my extras. This is all I had left. I had some yellow and then a tiny little drip of pink and purple. Oh, that one's pretty. And these are too, but I'll have to top coat them, do something with them. So I decided I'm going to use the closed top because I made them colorful, I want to hold the light in. And these fit right in between these spots perfectly. It's perfectly cut. So what I'm going to do is UV resin it together because I don't want to wait for glue. That's from the little tea light. I got a little tea light out to see if it will work, which I'm sure it will, but let me grab some gloves because I don't want to touch the resin, and then we're gonna put it all together. I'm going to do the top first. I'm going to use this one. So I think, make sure your out is out. I'm gonna hold it up straight. I really should E6000 this, but I'm going to UV resin it because I don't know how to hold it together with glue while it dries. I'm sure somebody watching this has done this before. Please tell me how to do this the right way. So I think I'm gonna get them all in temporarily, making sure the correct side is out. And looks like I'm going to have a gap at the bottom. I don't know how to fix that. So I'm going to do the best that I can. Now that I just spent an hour filling these in, this better look halfway decent when I'm done building it. Well, I got it put together. Everything went pretty closely together. Now, if I had to do this again, I wouldn't do such dark colors, which I didn't think they were dark because they were transparent. This little light doesn't light it up like I would want it to, although it's not dark in here. But I brought a flashlight in. I'm going to put it underneath. The UV resin held everything. I did put it on all these edges just to close them in and hold it together. I don't know if I would put this piece on, and it's too late now. You can't go back and do it without tearing the whole thing apart because you have to glue the top piece from the inside. So this will definitely hold the light. Let me go shut the lights off and I will show you what it looks like in the dark. Okay, are you ready? There it is. So if you have a strong light, it looks really cool. I'm really happy with it with the strong light, so that little tea light just doesn't do it justice, but look at that. I'm so proud of myself. My first wooden lantern with resin. Whoops, there. Although I can't keep a flashlight in there, but I don't know what would be strong to bring out all those colors. I keep missing the hole, so it's probably going off, but check that out. It is so pretty. Pretty cool. Now my phone just dimmed because I'm in the dark, so I hope you're seeing this. I'll try to get you some good pictures. Anyway, that is it for today, you guys. I even had a few extras to finish, which is amazing. So I have this one that looks really pretty with a sparkle in it, so I didn't put anything on it. And then I had the pair of earrings, and I put a little flower for the theme on here. So let me try to get you some good pictures. I'm not sure if I can or not. I'll have to figure it out in the dark with my phone. But thanks for stopping in. I will see you guys tomorrow. You all have a blessed day. Stick around for those pictures. Bye, everyone. Surprise, I'm back. So if you've watched me for any length of time, you know I can't leave anything alone. And I was taking pictures of it. I'm like, no, this is not finished at all. So I pulled out some ribbon in gold. And I'm like, I can bling this up in some beautiful ribbons. So that is what I'm going to do. This is going to be even more beautiful. So I'm going to pull out my Liquid Fusion. This is Liquid Fusion in here. I usually use it for rhinestones, but I'm not rhinestoning this. I am going to put my ribbon on here and see what it looks like. I think it's going to dress it up to what it needs, just what it needs, because it needed a little something. It's just a little bit too brown. So hopefully, I don't usually use glue and fabric, so I'm not exactly sure which glue is going to be the best. So I'm going to just play around with a couple of my glues because I don't know that this one's going to hold. And of course, I will show you the end results. I don't know why I start these things at midnight. Maybe it's the midnight hour that gives me ideas and I just can't stop. So, do you guys promise not to laugh when I show you what I did? Please, do you promise? All right, well, I put the ribbon on, down the edges, and across the top. And then I was like, I don't like that seam. This seam that I saw. So I put rhinestones on it. This is still wet. And then I'm like, I think I have a brooch that will go with this. So I glued the brooch to it, which is still wet. And then I was like, well, I can't do the top. I can't do the top and not the bottom. So I had to do the bottom. And then I found these little twinkle lights that I had. So I put them inside. And these will go with it, although you will have to, whoever ends up with this will have to make it fit in that little hole and just set it on there. But it has a couple different settings. Or you could keep it steady or off. So now it is finished. This is more like glitz and glitter. I just wouldn't have been able to live with myself if I didn't do something to this lantern before I went to bed tonight. Well, I will now get you pictures. Thanks for staying there with me. And let's see what I can bling up tomorrow, you guys. Bye, everyone.